Hello there, beer nerds. Hope you all are having a great day. Normally I keep things nice and upbeat and positive on the channel, but today I need to vent a little bit. So with that in mind, remember that this is just my opinion and my opinion only. This is not gospel. It's not fact. This is just simply how I feel. So let's get into this one. I'm a young guy. I definitely was not around during the early days of craft brewing with all the rebel breweries, and I'm certainly no pioneer here in the brew tubing community. But what I am is a product of the maturation of the craft brewing industry here in the US. Now, as any industry matures and consumers get smarter about your products, you no longer have to educate a market about what it is you're making and why it's better than what was out there before. They already know craft beer is awesome. So what you have to market now and today is essentially a lifestyle. Now we see this in all sorts of other big industries, like choosy moms choose Jif, or tough rugged working guys buy trucks. And as AB InBev tried to do this past summer, when they renamed their beer America, real Americans drink Anheuser-Busch. Now, I think this shift viewed through the lens of craft beer is actually really cool. Brewers are starting to tell unique stories and are attracting unique groups of people, all for the love of beer. For example, there's a local brewery here in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area called Tin Whiskers, which was started by a couple of electrical engineers turned brewers. They make great beer, and they embrace their nerdy heritage by hosting things like Dungeons and Dragons nights or other nerdy board games, trivia nights, all in their tap room. You know, it works really great for them because not only do they fill their tap room every week with nerds playing D&D or other games, but it kind of offers, non-regulars something unique to the brewery that they're not going to see elsewhere. They do a fantastic job of marketing this kind of nerd beer merged lifestyle, and it's all capped off with some really quality beer. But you know what really grinds my gears? When good craft brewers just use horrible masculine marketing tropes to try to sell beer. Now look, I'm not some social justice warrior saying that, even though 80% of craft beer drinkers are male, we shouldn't market specifically towards men for some unknown reason. That's not what I'm saying at all. Even I have a strange fascination with controversial beer labels, and those are normally sexist or racist or outrageous in some way. And I usually enjoy those fun statements that brewers are trying to make while they market beer and stand out from the crowd. Come to think of it, I have 2 videos on this channel about controversial labels. Why don't you go watch them after this? But I don't like lazy craft beer marketing towards men that is more worthy of Miller Lite than an IPA. Now, the example I have of this is the one that inspired me to make this video in the first place, and that is the total overuse of the word aggressive in beer marketing and to describe beer. Now, I can let phrases like aggressively hopped or aggressively bitter or, aggressively whatever. I can let those slide. I'm sure they appeal to somebody. That somebody is not me, but that's totally fine. But I was watching a beer review video the other day, as I do almost every day, and the reviewer was reading what was on the bottle, and on the bottle they had a little aggressiveness scale. And apparently the IPA on the bottle really maxed out that aggressiveness scale, whatever the heck that means. I'm sure some of you are thinking at this point, you're Ryan, what's the big deal? It's a stupid little marketing thing that a few breweries are trying, and you seem awful sensitive about some word and a little scale. Why don't you just calm down a little bit? Let me tell you why I think this stuff is kind of bad for craft beer as a whole. I need to drink a beer for this. Hold on. First, as a guy who's researched and made 3 videos on how to empirically measure beer so that you can get some sort of consistency or idea of how it will taste before you even try it, A meaningless aggressiveness scale is misinformation and I think dumbs down like potential new beer drinkers. Instead of like taking advantage of a really cool teachable moment and putting something like an IBU scale, or maybe you want to make it even easier to understand and just put like a bitterness scale on there, but use real IBU numbers. Instead of that, we get these like meaningless terms being measured on scales like aggressiveness. How does one even measure aggressiveness? Is it on a scale of newborn kitten to Adolf Hitler invading Poland? As a nerd who takes measurements kind of seriously, it just feels like a lazy marketing that really just doesn't add any value. But more importantly than, it just kind of being nonsensical is that, I think this stuff kind of alienates people from even trying craft beer in the first place. I mean, remember back to when you were new to craft beer. I mean, all of us were new to it at some point. You read and imagine you read the word aggressive on the label. And would you think to yourself, gee, I really want to put something aggressive in my mouth right now? No, I don't think so. I don't think you'd want to do that. And other beverages have this down pat. Coca-Cola is refreshing. Mountain Dew is energizing. But IPAs are aggressive? It just doesn't seem to fit. And now, you know what? You're a mature beverage industry and you got to play against some of these guys. So don't sell yourself short. I'm sure your beer's good. Now, I think some people might think that, oh, well, if you're marketing your aggressiveness, you're not marketing to, a new drinker. You're marketing to some veteran drinker. But I say that the phrase aggressive is not even that attractive to them either. First, if you're a discerning craft beer lover, you're looking up brands online, you're watching beer review videos, sometimes you're even on the phone in the bottle shop. You're looking at reviews on Untappd or Rate Beer. You're not looking at the marketing gimmicks and the marketing words on the label. Like you're looking for a label that catches your eye. You're looking it up, and craft beer drinkers are probably some of the most smart and tech savvy drinkers out there. At least the large number of millennial ones are. I kind of did a very unscientific poll when I was throwing this around in my head of the women in my life who all love craft beer and who routinely drink much darker beers than I do on a daily basis. And I think most of them had generally negative feelings towards like the overuse of aggressive in the industry. It wasn't like total disgust, but it was just not an appealing way for them to think about beer or have beer described to them. One even said that beers that tend to brag about how aggressive they are, or like edgier out there they are. She's like, yeah, they usually aren't that good. They usually don't live up to their own hype. So basically, I'm just trying to resolve into my mind, if it alienates new drinkers and your more experienced drinkers are already doing way more research than just whether or not it says aggressive on the label, who does this type of aggressiveness scale nonsense market to? In my opinion, it's just kind of that lazy, most beer drinkers are men. We gotta appeal to them. Let's use some masculine word. This beer is pretty bitter. Let's just throw aggressive on there. I just don't think it's a super appealing way to describe beer. I think it detracts a little bit from the craft beer world, and it just seems lazy to me for brewers to just be relying on old tropes like this and nonsensical aggressiveness scales. Brewers, just tell your story. Tell it in a compelling way. Guys like me, we all admire you. We all admire your skill. the great products you managed to churn out batch after batch after batch. I love it. I want to hear your story. I don't want to hear how aggressive you did or how crazy or out there you think your beer is. I want to hear about you. Tell me about you. That's what I want to hear. I guess that's enough rant for one video. Remember, this is just how I feel. You're welcome to disagree. This is not fact or law or anything like that. If you do disagree, maybe even leave me a comment down below. And if you like this video or just like the topic but you don't agree, why don't you click that like button for me? Help a small brew tuber out. Anyway, I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Thanks for listening to me rant and rave. It was a little therapeutic for me today, and I kind of needed it after a stressful week at work. And now I'm going to go to town on the rest of this coffee stout. Cheers, beer nerds.